Hi everyone and welcome to part 2 of the Heist Guide. Before watching this guide, we recommend you to have either watched part 1 of the Heist Guide or that you have played a couple of Heist games already.
Hey guys, how you doing? This is JoeTribiani and I will now be going over the table of contents for this video. In this video, we will be covering the following: an explanation of all the perks, map-specific game mechanics, random events in the game and the rewards, useful game settings, and lastly, some tips to improve your gameplay. First, we shall talk about the robber perks. Super Crook is the most important perk of all. Every time a guard accuses you, your running energy drains down to 5%. However, with Super Crook, you will retain enough run energy to reach a deposit point with your loot. This is extremely useful to rush the bank even when there are guards inside. You will also fully recover your running energy when depositing your treasure. The resist arrest will briefly stun all the guards within a 3 square radius. It is useful to raid the bank as you can stun all the guards and create a gap big enough to reach the deposits. As a bonus, it will also recover 20% running energy. The Great Escape is basically an extra life for the robbers. It allows you to respawn someplace outside of jail. To use this perk, click on it and then click the bed to begin digging your tunnel to freedom. Then just spam click anywhere on the screen to finish your escape. It is generally a smart idea to wait a bit inside the jail before using it, because a guard might get jailed, allowing you to pickpocket his jail key and escape with that instead. The decoy perk will create a clone of you on your exact spot, which will then start running towards a random direction. This may just be enough to escape from a guard. It could also send a guard to jail if they accuse your clone and get the third wrong accusation. Decoy is the least useful perk of all robber perks.
Now I will go over the guard perks, starting with the wanted board. The wanted board is a useful feature that is inside the jail to see which forms the robbers currently have. However, don't rely too much on it as robbers can change forms after you check. It's useful to check at the start of the game as you start inside the jail anyways, but it can be accessed anytime and as many times as you like. The friendly wave perk can be used twice per game, and if you wave, NPCs will wave back to you. So if one NPC does not wave, it should be a robber. It's not fully reliable and therefore it is not recommended to unlock this. A security sensor can be placed once per game to cover an 11 by 11 area, so 5 steps in any direction from the sensor. If a robber steps inside it, the security sensor will go off, but it won't show you who the robber is. However, you could have an idea if you know who entered the area at the time the sensor went off. You will get a better feeling for this once you start using them yourself. The Undercover Cop will turn you as a guard into an NPC for 30 seconds. It is a decent perk to have. You may spot robbers doing some actions as they think there is no guard nearby. Or you can turn into an NPC while you are the only one guarding the bank. Robbers may think the bank is empty and will therefore rush it. When you accuse an NPC, you will turn back into a guard again. To finalize, these are the most important ones to unlock: Super Crook, Great Escape, Security Sensor, Wanted Board, and Resist Arrest.
Every map has different unique features, which I will now point out, starting with the Bertop map. This unique Bertop map is the only place on RS where you can go for a swim. Why would you want to go for a swim? Because it's hot, of course. But also because you want to offload those heavy bags of loot, as the deposit points on this map are all in the waters. However, swimming for long hours is not really recommended, as any yellow dot in the water is obviously a robber. It's best to dive in the water close to a deposit point to minimize your time in it. Also, this guild building allows you to jump off from either of its side, making it one of the best tactics to escape a guard that is chasing you. What makes the Canifis map unique is that it has no boundaries. Players can simply run into the swamp and they will respawn on the opposite end. This is extremely helpful to escape any guards that are chasing you. These gargoyle statues will turn their head every time a robber is near them. So, it could be really interesting for a guard to keep an eye out on these statues to get those sweet bonus catches. Another unique feature of this map are these mounds. When a player digs these mounds, there is a small chance that a Barrow's brother will spawn. The player can then take the disguise of the said Barrow's brother. However, it is not recommended to do so because you will really stand out from the rest of the NPCs. It should also be noted that NPCs do not sit on benches on this map. So, if you see anyone sitting on one, just go and accuse them because that is guaranteed to be a robber. Darkmire is probably one of the least favorite maps as it is fairly glitchy with sometimes house loot or random events that can't even be accessed. On top of that, it is a walled off map, so robbers cannot use anything to their advantage on the boundaries of this map as opposed to the waters in Berthorpe or the swamps in Canifis. Also, NPCs do not sit on benches in this map either. The Elkreed map hugely favors the robbing team. Robbers can hide in the hay carts on this map. This map also has a unique NPC, the camel, which cannot run or hide in carts, but it can pickpocket carts without any animation. However, the main advantage that robbers have on this map is the excessive availability of house loot, because this map can spawn as many as 8 house loot. Zombies on the Berthorpe night map and werewolves on the Canifis map are both infected creatures. Once players take the disguise of these infected creatures, every time they go and change their disguise, another infected creature will spawn. So in theory, the entire map could be turned into infected creatures, making it very easy to blend in. However, it's a risky strategy to use as you might get seen changing disguises. Guards can use the vaccines which can be found inside the chest in the jail to cure infected creatures. However, curing infections, in my opinion, is not worth the time as you can be doing better things like trying to catch robbers changing disguises or protecting the bank.
There are several random events that can take place which can be completed by both robbers and guards. One of the random events available in every game is the upset woman who lost her house keys and wants them returned. These keys and any other item that may be required to complete a random event can be found anywhere on the map. When robbers complete a random event, they will get one piece of treasure which they can deposit and will gain an extra perk. And when guards complete a random event, they will also get a perk and a trail which stays for a few seconds that points into the direction of a robber. Besides the upset woman, we have the following random events from most common to least common. The Shady Stranger wants a wanted poster torn down that looks like this. Once the wanted poster has been torn down, talk to the Shady Stranger and get your reward depending on what role you are. The Boy as a random event is pretty rare, but there can be one in the game which is looking for his ball. This is similar to the upset woman where the ball should be retrieved and should be brought back to the boy. A rare event that can take place is the injured man. He should be brought to the medical supplies. The man will follow you once you speak to him. Therefore, it is a risky event to do as a robber, as you will stand out with the injured man following you. The shocked woman is a very rare event which I've barely seen myself. The shocked woman has lost her kitten, and you should approach the kitten, who will then follow you. Lead the kitten to the shocked woman to complete the event. This is similar to the injured man event. Next up, we will go over some useful settings, and one of the most important settings you should have is to always remove roofs. This way, you can look inside houses and locate, for example, doors, stairs, and chests easily, which you won't be able to locate otherwise. You can expand your minimap to quickly scan the map for interesting locations. For example, you could spot where the deposit points are and where the bank is. It is good to have maximum draw distance, so you can see from a further distance if an NPC would open a door or break a window. The Canopus and Berthor by night map may appear dark, which may make it hard to properly see what's going on. With the skybox set to midday, however, you will not have that issue. First, we will have some tips for guards. The first one is that having 2 guards in the bank is often a good tactic, especially in 5v5s. It means that one guard can chase a robber without leaving the bank completely empty. On top of that, if a robber gets accused by 2 different guards, his run will also be drained twice, so therefore it will be very close to 0% run, which will make it faster to catch robbers. The loot interface will not directly update when robbers deposit in a spawn chip. So if you receive the message that a robber deposited treasure and the loot number does not go down, you know the robber just did that in a spawn chip. If you are nearby, you may be able to spot him near that chip. This is indirectly a tip for the robbers as well. Depositing in a spawn chip is most likely not the best option, unless it is the final piece of loot to win. Guards may be unlucky and have the spawn chip or a deposit point really close to the bank. In that case, it may be worth having a guard close to that deposit point to prevent robbers from making easy deposits. This is particularly important when robbers only need one more loot to win. To follow up on guarding specific locations, on the Dark Mayor map, it may be worth having guards next to the doors, as it only has 2 entrances. Therefore, it may be harder to escape for a robber trying to leave the bank.
Now, we will have some tips for the robbing team. Always scout for a deposit point before grabbing any loot. You have to assume that you will get caught and your running energy will get drained. If you don't know the nearest deposit point, then you may reach 0 running energy and the guard will catch you before you deposit the loot. Always check your minimap for white and purple dots. If you are about to perform any action that is a dead giveaway for robbers, such as opening a door, make sure no guards can see that. To follow up on that, you should only jump in the water when very close to a deposit boat, as you want to minimize your time swimming. This is because guards can easily spot yellow dots in the water, which are guaranteed to be robbers. Make sure to change your disguise frequently, because you will only be making it easier for the guards by keeping the same disguise. Also, you won't be able to fool those guards who think they know robber disguises because they have just checked it on the wanted board. Guards will be extra aware of the disguises that they have seen on the notice board. So, if you change your disguise right after they have checked it, you may get that slight advantage that you need to escape with loot.
And that concludes the intermediate guide. We hope this info helps you to improve your gameplay and that you are able to have competitive games with your clanmates and friends. If you have not joined our Discord yet, then you can still do so by clicking on the link down in the description. And hopefully we'll see you again at the final part of the video, the expert guide.